Hello, this is Sarah McElroy, and I will be reviewing with you an article entitled College Students in Service, a Mixed Methods Exploration of Motivations, Choices, and Learning Outcomes by Ronald Chesbrough. This research study examined factors influencing why college students volunteer, how they choose their volunteer sites, locations, and projects, and what they learn from this experience. This study utilized several theoretical frameworks, such as student development theory, research on gender differences in college students, and field research on the moral development of women, as well as field research on students' derivation of meaning from experiences as the basis in literature for this research. This research study utilized a mixed methods exploratory design. The researcher explained that this design methodology was chosen because qualitative data was gathered first and then used to provide a framework for the quantitative portion of the mixed methods research design. This methodology was appropriate because there were no measures or instruments available to utilize regarding this topic, and there was no guiding framework either. The researcher used the research paradigm to inform this study, which was identified as a pragmatic research paradigm. The researcher cited Creswell and Plano-Clark in identifying an epistemological stance within the current research as the basis for this mixed methods exploratory pragmatic research paradigm. This research study had several findings related to gender, motivations, and previous service. The researcher utilized a cross-tabulation, chi-square, and Spearman coefficient for quantitative findings. Statistically significant differences were found between men and women in how students describe service, select service opportunities, and describe learning from service. Another finding related to gender was that men describe service in terms of individual and impersonal activities, while women describe service as a relational activity connected to emotions and personal commitments. External motivators to serve became less important as students moved through their college years and completed higher number of service hours, where internal motivators became more important, such as feeling strongly about a cause or wanting to contribute and help others. The researcher identified research questions for both the qualitative and quantitative phases of research, but not the mixed method specifically. In regards to the questions, the researcher posed close-ended questions, such as, is there a difference? This article discusses the setting for this research, and the study was conducted at a small faith-based institution with a mission focused on service, which has been recognized nationally for student service programs. This may have an impact on the responses of the students to questions regarding service and the importance placed upon it. For data collection methods, this researcher emailed out the survey to over 1,000 students and only received 447 completed surveys. This helped me to realize that although we need to survey 15 students, we may need to broaden the scope of how many we include in our initial outreach. In the analysis section, the researcher utilized several coding methods such as open coding, axial coding, and selective coding. An important point is that the researcher stated the reliability and validity of all of these methods utilized. The discussion section in this article included several implications of research and practice, which provided a means for describing how the results can be embedded into the daily practices at this community college. There weren't any explicit mentions of future research study, but I plan to add that into my own research. Analyzing an exploratory mixed methods design was very helpful in determining that this will be the design that I utilize in my study. This method seemed appropriate for my topic and for my approach. This research study was also helpful in providing examples of research questions. Although they were phrased as closed-ended, the researcher is seeking to answer a very similar in nature to what I'm looking at in my current study. The article showed the connections between the setting of the research and how this could have an effect on the sample utilized. Students attending a community college with service in the mission, and which has won awards for student service, would be more inclined to provide positive feedback on volunteer service. The researcher had biases as well, which were identified in the study, but may have had an impact on the sample. In our readings, Fink discusses the best methods for writing effective survey questions. Unfortunately, there was no appendix attached to this research article with the survey items, so it's difficult to determine whether this method was followed. However, with the few sample questions provided, it appeared that many were in ordinal questions and also comparative rating scale questions, which Fink describes as problematic, and to try to utilize a small number of these. I realize in my proposed questionnaire I have used them several times and will go back and edit. Fink also describes how to present the survey results in a research article, and Chesbrough accomplishes this through a variety of tables presented. I would have liked to have seen an analytical or statistical graph in regards to the chi-square test. However, the findings are made explicit in the discussion section. And in our readings of Creswell and Plano-Clark, a thorough discussion of mixed methods design is explored, which related closely with current research articles. So overall, this research article was an excellent example of a well-designed mixed methods study.